Hi, and welcome to part 3 of our Jin Kazama Breakdown. In this episode, we look at his situational moves. Standing 4. One of the fastest tracking moves in the game. This is used to both stop opponents pressing buttons when they're at disadvantage, and also stop them stepping. This leads to a combo on counter hit, and usually Jin can only get a down to grounded attack on the opponent. This will whiff if you land it standing 4 at tip range, in which case go for down 4. However, if Jin is slightly to the opponent's right side, for example, if he follows up standing 4 from a sidestep left, he can get a full combo, since he can now pick up with a back 2-1. While standing 4 is safe on block, Jin is at a heavy disadvantage, so be prepared to defend against a mix-up. And it is also high, making it susceptible to high crushes and ducking. It is also easily punishable on whiff, so make sure to use it at a range where the opponent can't backdash. Forward 3. An underrated tool, Jin's equivalent to a generic down forward 4, but faster, making it one of the fastest mids in the game. This doesn't do much damage, but is used to keep opponents in check and end rounds. It also catches sidestep right, which is Jin's weak side. Beware that it has a poor vertical hitbox, so will often go over evasive moves such as sweeps. 1-2-3 or 1-2-4. From a 10-frame jab, Jin can also choose from these two strings for pressure. 1-2-3 ends in a mid and a mini combo on hit, however it can be jabbed in between or sidestepped. This used to be plus on block in previous Tekkens, but is now 0. 1-2-4 ends in a tracking high that pushes the opponent away. There are no gaps in this string. On a solid read, the opponent can heavily punish either option, but the strings cover each other's weaknesses. Crouch Dash 1, Jin's primary ranged whiff punisher, has enormous range and is mid, but is unsafe on block. Back forward 2-1-2, a fast, delayable string with the first 2 hits being a natural combo. Although every hit is safe on block, the second hit can be ducked, although this is very hard to do in a match, and can be covered by the mid extension back forward 2-3. The third hit can be stepped to the right if delayed. What many Jin players do is perform the first 2 hits in the string, and if it hits, continue pressure. If it's blocked, they perform the last hit in the string to snuff out any retaliation. This can of course be stepped and heavily punished. Back 2-1. Not the best damage, but has good range. Is mid and goes very low to the ground, which means it has the added benefit of going under jabs after a certain point. Useful for ranged whiffs where you don't feel confident it will connect, particularly against opponents who like to fake a whiff and then high crush or jab. While you can delay the hits, it natural combos only when undelayed, so it's usually best not to. Back 2-1 is very useful against characters who have evasive stances that go low to the ground. However, on block it leaves Jin at a heavy disadvantage right at the opponent's face, so it's best avoided against characters with strong mix-up options. Back 3. A fast mid-knee that combos on counter hit. Safe on block but lacks range, and is easily punishable on whiff. This is best used on the defensive to catch opponents who utilize too many high crush moves. Punch Parry. When Jin is at a heavy but not punishable disadvantage, for example after a regular wind hook fist, back to 1 or 4, he doesn't have much option other than to predict a mix-up. However, if you believe that the opponent will try to jab or down forward 1 to keep you in check, the punch parry will catch them.
This can be followed up with a forward 2 for a quick combo. Punch parry is mainly used as a hard call-out for jab-happy opponents. Beware, as it is highly linear and leaves Jin very open. As with most other parries, it's vulnerable to elbows and knees.
Up forward 4. One of the weaker hop kicks in the game due to its poor range. This is still a great option to take if the opponent goes for a predictable low or crouch jab. Fortunately, in Tekken 7, it's also back to its regular launching status. As with all hop kicks, it is punishable on block. Up forward 3. Jin's safe low crush option, but only combos on counter hit. It has surprisingly decent range. 1+2, one of the fastest mids in the game, does a healthy chunk of damage and blows the opponent away. Useful in matchups against opponents who like to duck in, but punishable on block. 3-1-4, not really a staple of Jin's repertoire since it's slower than his other high strings and super linear, but can be useful when used sparingly. The string always ends in a low,
which can catch unfamiliar players by surprise.
Against players who know better, don't complete the string, and instead test their reactions with down forward 1-4. The delay at the end will also make them hesitant to press buttons, since it leads to a combo on counter hit. So you may be able to connect with another low during their moment of confusion. Throws. With strong command throws for left, right, and both punches, Jin can continually mix up his throws. They all have strong okizeme afterwards, and then against an opponent who can't break them, they should be used liberally. Jin's 1-2 throw, when teched, switches sides with the opponent, so it can be used to escape when your back is against the wall. Either they take the throw or they get cornered, the choice is theirs. Crouching Demon Stance. Jin can access his CDS stance by pressing forward from the following moves. 1-3, down forward 3-3, not recommended unless confirmed on hit, back 3, back forward 2-3, again not recommended unless confirmed, and forward 4. If the opponent is anticipating a demon cancel, they can interrupt every single option with a down forward 1. In general, aside from the forward 4 transition, which can be made safe from the crouch dash cancel, these transitions aren't particularly useful outside of combos. It's thus best to go into CDS manually while spacing. More on this later. 1-2 is your main pressure tool from Demon Stance. 1 is a mid attack with a heavily delayable mid follow-up. These are natural hit if there is no delay, and on counter hit there is enough time to hit confirm. The second hit is punishable on block. You can perform the first hit and then sneak in a low for fear of the delayed second hit. 2 goes into a punch with an inbuilt sidestep to the right. Unfortunately, this only reliably evades standing jabs and moves with poor tracking to the right, such as down forward 2 and hop kicks. It is punishable on block. 3 is a new safe, tracking screw mid. The startup is quite slow, so it's mainly used only in combos and at the wall. 4 goes into a low sweep that will go under highs, certain mids, and grants Jin a free forward 4 or 4-3. If performed after sidestep right, you can also pick up the opponent with a while standing 4 for a combo. Beware, however, that this is slow enough to be reactable if the opponent is watching out for it, and massively punishable on block. Although this will often work against low level players who often mash jab and may be caught by surprise. At a higher level of play, it is a poor choice as an offensive tool. 1+2 is a safe, tracking, launching high. While this does sound great, beware that as a high it can be ducked and heavily punished. As mentioned before, it is quite useful when used in conjunction with a wave dash. 3+ floor is a flying kick that leaves Jin plus on block. Apparently his Akuma anti-fireball option, but not very useful since the startup is a bit slow and the range isn't great. Generally only used in combos. Jin can manually enter crouching demon stance in two ways. Back one is a retreating option that can be cancelled into crouch dash with down forward. Some fancy Jin players like to do a little dance to intimidate the opponent by continually cancelling back one into down forward. It also constitutes one forward input, so Jin can also press forward 2 or forward 3 at any time to do his forward 2 and running 3 for example. Down +1/+2 is the more offensive manual entry as it advances Jin forward and can be used to extend the range of his stance moves. It also goes under jabs, but isn't as evasive as back +1. As an offensive tool, crouching demon stance is not the most intimidating in the game due to the transitions into it being negative on block, and the only low is seeable and highly punishable. But it can be useful when used sparingly to catch opponents off their guard. However, when used in conjunction with back one's evasiveness, it is also quite powerful at the wall, with crouching demon stance 1-2 in particular being very scary to deal with. CDS is thus best used as a defensive stance, since back one goes under all highs. It is a great option to use damaging whiff punishers like 1+2. A higher risk but even more evasive option is back +1 to 4, which will continue to slip under jab strings and even some mids.
Thank you for watching part 3 of our Jin Kazama Breakdown. On the next episode, we'll be examining his combos, punishment, and wall game. A huge thank you to our Patreon super subscribers. All contributions are deeply appreciated, and we hope you can help support us in our plans for the future. Thank you again for watching, take care, and see you next time.